Well, we replaced all the old steel bearings with ceramics. Don't want to bore you too much, but I've assembled this part of it. Remember to use just a dab of thread lock. So there's 2 in that spacer strengthening piece, another 2 in here in the motor bearing block holder. So we'll bolt that on. Not super glue, idiot. Thread lock, again, not bad, taking a couple of hours, maybe a little bit more, and yeah, making quite reasonable headway. Almost forgot to mention, I wasn't over enthused about the bearing blocks weren't quite nicely lined up with this 3 bearing blocks, and the shaft wasn't dropping, main shaft wasn't dropping through nicely, and it was bindy. Ended up, well, there's center bearing holder and the bottom one. I end up having to slightly elongate these holes to align the bearing plates. So now, as you can see there, it's literally drops straight through, which previously it would go and then it'll push in, but you could feel it when you're trying to pull it out, it wasn't nice and free. But as you can see there, drops straight through, and you can feel it is so smooth. So we'll put the gear in and set the end float. The shims that we have available, they vary from 0.3, 0.5, 0.8 and 1 mil. And I've found that by pulling the main shaft, as you can see, there's not a lot of movement there. Pulling the main shaft up, and I put a 0.3 between the machine shoulder and the bearing, the top bearing. Just a very quick exercise to prove my point on ceramic bearings. I'll put a bit of tape on there so give you an idea how quick that spins and how long it takes before it actually stops in comparison to the align one, the genuine bearing. So I'll spin this one up and you can see for yourself. Not bad, is it? Okay, I will spin up the brand new genuine bearing, and we'll see how long this one will run. It's obviously got grease in there. I've found to help slide the rubber bearing supports in, I've used oil. It's not as good as dishwashing liquid. It's a lot slipperier, doesn't rub off as easily, and yeah, I just find it a lot easier. It's like putting transfers on bodywork and so on. Dishwashing liquid a bit mixed with water, quite thin, and wet the panel, and you can slide these on exactly where you want them. Torque drive shaft in, nice and free, feels nice. This is exactly why I'm not very trusting of Align's amount of lubrication and bearings. This is the blade grip thrust bearing. As you can see there, it's only got half the bearing is sealed, got grease in it. Not very good. So that just consolidates my views that wherever you can, use ceramics. Admittedly, yes, they won't be rotating round and round and round flat out, but by the same token, it is a thrust bearing and half of it is dry. Not good. Don't get overly overexcited here. We're not quite ready for the first Maiden. This is just an optical illusion. I've just put the front section of the bodywork on just to give you an idea what it looks like. Still waiting for some longer servo arms, that I didn't have. We finally have the motor running after literally hours and days trying to get the head round to get the throttle being recognised by the ESC, the Scorpion Tribunus. But yeah, it was a nightmare getting the throttle to be seen. Everything else would function, all the other servos would work, but could not get the, kept coming up with error codes, the beep beep, beep beep, which is the classic sound apparently of, oh, I don't see a throttle, I don't see a throttle channel. The joys of soldering and wiring up. Now what I've opted to do, these are, same as the batteries, are 12 gauge. I have opted to go to 8 gauge for the joiner between the two batteries to carry that extra current and load, because we're running two 16,000 milliamp hour batteries into a 12 gauge. I looked at a 10 gauge and it wasn't much heavier than this 12. Just before I connect the battery up, I'd just like to point out, whoever dreamt up these anti-spark XT90 connectors, plugs, certainly had his head on screwed on the right way. There we go. That's the Morse code. It went through that cycle previously, and then it'll go bit, and then tidit, and it'll keep doing that. Beep beep, beep beep, and it could not stop it. So we are now ready to go. So everything's ready to go. I do have another motor coming, something that's a bit more powerful. That's why nothing's been zip tied down as yet. I have opted to use a slightly gruntier Scorpion motor instead of the Align. I've read articles that the Align does have a bit of a meltdown carrying loads. The issue we also had was where the arms come up, you can see it was hitting in here, hitting that framework. So I had to very carefully grind away a piece of the framework there. It's aluminium with a plastic coating, so it would have been, plastic coating was about a mil and a half thick. I had to grind most of that away because the arm was, the actual ball link was catching down in there. Not good. So now this is clearance now, so all good. Righty ho, we're at the stage of needing to install the fan for the ESC and motor, airflow fan. This is the original one that came with the kit. Nice little motor. This one's out of an old computer. I plugged the battery into this one and you want to hear it scream. I will plug the old XPC fan in and you'll hear for yourself. Still a fairly reasonable, good draft, quite sufficient for what I need. but enough airflow over the ESC and over the motor, the bottom end of the motor. Yes sir, we finally have got there with the help of my friend Mr. Dan, Mr. Maestro Dan, who helped immensely with programming the Micro Beast. Wait for the magic tune. You can do it. Thank you. Rotor, right, left. It appears to be correct. Okay. Just make sure the kill switch works. Works straight away. Beautiful. I was just checking on the that we're turning left and right correctly in relation to the radio inputs. I think to be correct. Hear the blades slapping even at that head speed. I'm a little bit concerned. I don't want to run it up any faster than that. As you can see, I've got very little room in the backyard. Ready to roll. That's not bad. 11 minutes over time. Over the timer set for 15 minutes. I'm sad to report that this big baby E1 had a major crash. It appears that the Micro Beast flight controller had a malfunction, whether it came loose and it triggered the crash, but it was quite violent. But the major damage is this centerpiece. As you can see there, that's all that's left of it. And the problem here is, and you probably guessed, that you can't buy individual body sections. You have to buy the whole lot. In the meantime, fabricate a piece out of 1mm alloy sheet that I've got. First I have to make a template. This should give you a better idea. So basically we have the other side. Fortunately this part wasn't damaged, so I could go all the way across and it would give me that shape and size. We've made quite good progress. As you can see there, A4 paper template that we cut out for a new side piece out of 0.3mm card. Shaped it and then added or covered it in Gorilla Glue just to stiffen it up, and that's made it so I can flex it, bend it a little bit into shape. But as you can see there, it's fairly close. By the time it goes on and gets attached, it should be fine. I've had to seal off the card there. That'll take paint. That's sealed off now. So all I have to do now is glue it onto there. We have progressed, as you can see there. It's fairly well complete. So that's the shape there now. I had to put some 2mm by 4mm screws in here to hold or push this down to give me that slightly concave shape. Good headway in the last couple of days. We're almost ready for the primer coat. Just did some filling with some automotive fiberglass body filler just to contour it, shape it up a little bit. Because it's very difficult to shape the paper the way you want it. This piece at the back here, to get that bit of a curve inward, was a bit somewhat difficult. So I made a template like that, put it on and then clamped it up, as you can see there. Clamped it up with soft clamps and then ran the heat gun on the inside to soften the Gorilla Glue that's I used inside. Soften it just enough and then let it cool down. Just give you a slightly better idea of how I shaped the rear. Great progress today. As you can see, we're final primer coats. Yay, we're finally in the latter stages. As you can see there, that's the full primer coat on the tail piece. And now the one piece nose section. We have made quite good headway in the last few days. As you can see there, the modified front section or canopy is now one piece instead of two pieces. So originally you had tail piece, centre section and the nose section. That gives you a slightly better idea what the finished article will look like. It's pretty close, but we haven't got the tail drive unit for it as yet, because the rear drive gear set was not available in Australia.
Edward Lippard flying FPV, the heli.
First time ever.
First time ever. Okay, she's off.
Alright, about ready to go again. We've got brand new landing gear and a gimbal now that's ironed out a lot of the vibrations on the GoPro.